And welcome back to day 5 of Survivor 50 seasons in 50 days. Just finished watching Survivor Thailand, which when I first started planning this out, I tried to make it so that Thailand wouldn't follow my birthday. My birthday is tomorrow, so I was able to escape that. I get Amazon instead. I am joined by, first time on the marathon, I'm joined by Fred, who also, this was his first time watching Survivor Thailand. So, what had you heard about the season, and did it live up to what live down, live up, whatever to those stories?
Yeah. So I've only heard bad things about this season. I feel like that's like the general consensus that this is a really bad season. And I kind of needed the courage to watch it, essentially. So this was like the perfect push to watch it, and watching it from start to finish. I see why people have that opinion on it. Um, Probably the most problematic season of reality TV that I've
that,
watched.
that you've seen?
Yeah. So I'm I I see like why it's given such like a bad rep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and for the longest time, Thailand has always been my least favorite season. I always have it ranked last. That will probably end up being the case once I'm done with this rewatch this time, but for all I know, I might start hating one other season after that. But as of right now, Thailand has always been my least favorite. And yes, we're going to talk about, I guess, the problematic aspects of it a little later. But even just as a watch, it's just so dull. Especially,
Slow.
it's every time I rewatch this season, I forget that Jed exists. When he popped up on the screen, I was like, I don't know who this person is, and I know like Stephanie, and Stephanie is someone that I feel like the casual fan would not. Jed, I had to wait until they showed his name to be like, oh yeah, Jed. Actually,
And
no, I think Julia, when Julia said you picked Jed to win the game, that's when I remembered this time around. That's what it was. It's just very forgettable, and both tribes, especially pre-merge, there are no good guys. I feel like we're kind of actively rooting for both tribes to lose all of the time. On Sukjai, we've got Rob with two B's. We've got Jed, who's just kind of there. We got Stephanie, who, like, it always felt like she was pissed off about something.
yes,
Um, and
even
Chuyan's a whole,
like
yeah,
sleeping in the rain, like
yeah,
just always mad at the world. That's what it
but
felt like.
got naked the one time. And she was jacked too. I guess she's a firefighter, so
Huge,
that makes sense.
like crazy.
But then on Chewy, we have what I'm assuming they wanted us to like them, and I would say that my favorite player this entire season, every time I watch the season, even though she is very annoying, is Jan, because she's the least aware, but she's also the least whatever problematic, whatever you want to call it. She has her, her pet cemetery, and she cries a lot, and she's an alcoholic probably, or at least was. I don't know now. Who were some of the standouts for you as far as like, okay, I can enjoy this person?
Yeah, you were just talking about her. Jan was a big standout for me. Jan was a slow burner for me. At the beginning, I was like, you know what, like maybe she'll grow on me because she started as the captain and was picking people, and um I feel like I didn't get a lot of, I don't know, I wasn't getting a lot, but when that merge comes around, I feel like Jan and her content just kind of skyrockets. Like even from the jump, right? Where they're all getting drunk at the campfire and she's like
Balls.
she falls on the ground. Like I think there's just a lot more that comes out of her, and we really see the personality come out of her, and I think that is by far, like, I was put on immediately when that
Yeah.
merge came around.
And
Um,
Jake got brought up as well, and Jake is harmless.
yeah,
The
Jake,
suit guy members that we get at the merge are fine. At
yes,
at worst, they are just fine.
Yes, they're just like they're all of those members are kind of like just like a family trying to get through essentially, and it's like really sweet to watch, but it's so sad because you know what's going to happen to them when
Yes.
it just keeps going. Um, and like there's even a moment I go back to where they're all like in a circle, like holding hands, and like I think that moment is really sweet, but I'm
It
sitting
is.
there laughing because I'm like, we know what's happening.
Yeah. And it just keep like just the air just keeps getting sucked out every episode. And like I said, Trigon is portrayed, I guess they want us to look at them as the underdogs because of how they started and because of the way that Jan picked the tribe, which one of the first thing I have in my notes are, well, it says Jan is already crying, which yes, but when she starts picking, it's like, wow, like I know Ted brings it up later, she was picking a lot of. I'm shocked that Chewigon actually eventually goes on the run that they do in the back half of the season because Jake did pick correct, whatever that means, was picking the right people for this part of the game. And so anyway, so Chewigon has this underdog story, but like from jump, you don't like half of them. And Brian is a sociopath, and we will talk about Brian a little later. But yeah, I guess going to Sukjai for a second. Pre-merge, obviously the standout, whether you like him or not, and I wasn't a fan, was Rob with two B's. He got a lot of screen time. What were your thoughts on Rob?
I thought Rob, so he's he's very charismatic, and I like my survivor players to be charismatic like that. And the first thing you get from Rob is immediately he starts beefing with Sheehan, and it like when they started going like kind of at it, like obviously they get their stuff together towards the end and everything, but as they're going at it, I think it's a really fun uh kind of argument, and it actually gets me to like both of them, if that makes sense.
No,
um
I get that.
and then obviously like the attack zone challenge where Rob
Oh, we're going to talk all about attack zones, so you can just that's a
like
whole other segment.
oh my gosh. Yeah, Rob is, I think he's hilarious. I think he suffers from I don't think he's a great game player, but I think he's very charismatic, and I think he's very and like at the end of his run, he shows a lot of growth. And like he talks about how like at home, if he was at home, he would just be drinking and going out, but this experience like did a lot for him, and I think that was very like powerful, and his vote out was very powerful because I think it shows that he learned a lot from the experience, and it shows like I don't know, it gets me to like him.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, no, game wise, there was not a lot there. And I wish there was more, but there
Well, yeah,
wasn't.
when he confronts Ken the cop about, hey, you didn't, we made this pact a week and a half ago, and you didn't tell me that this, and he was like, and I didn't vote for you either. So what are you so upset about? He was just looking, it always felt like he was looking for fights until they had that kumbaya moment. And I think that his entire boot episode is basically one big kumbaya moment. You kind of know what's going to happen. And yeah, it does feel like at the end of his, that was like one of the last glimpses of hope for this season was his boot episode, because it's like, oh, okay, so Sukjai are the good guys, so we're supposed to be rooting for these people now. Okay, so this is all going to work.
Mhm.
And it and it doesn't. And I quickly, before we move on from Rob, what's up with these luxury items that people brought this season? Because we've got his skateboard and we've got Clay's one golf club, which, go ahead.
I thought that was cool because they made like a little mini golf out of that with like I thought that was really cool. But I mean, one golf club was weird, and Brian's guitar was
Brian's
another
guitar.
one that was
Yeah,
fun.
this is one of those. This is
Um,
one of those seasons where it's like, wow, they really can just bring whatever they want. He brought a skateboard to Thailand and lived on a beach for his entire tenure there. But go off. Uh,
maybe it's
Go
his
ahead.
comfort item, you know.
Again, I'll say this, and so for anyone that this is their first time watching me do this, if I fall asleep, I have to go back and rewatch episodes that I fell asleep to. And I fell asleep very early today. One, because I was hungover, but two, because it was just dull. And thankfully, I guess, I fell asleep during the Ted Gandia stuff, and so I had to wake up and watch it, this time around. And before we get there, it's funny because I went to college for a year and a half before I transferred to the school I graduated from. I went to Morgan State University, and watching Ted wear the Morgan State shirt all game, I'm like, I used to have that shirt, which is just a yeah. What were your thoughts on Chewy as a whole? Let's say pre Ted Gandia moment, did you feel like, hey, these are the underdogs I want to root for, or was it from jump, I don't think I'm vibing with these folks?
Yeah, I mean, from the jump, I was like, there were definitely people, and like before the whole situation, I was kind of liking Ted. Like I thought Ted was someone that was very interesting coming into the season. I thought, and Gandia, I really liked Gandia as well. Like, and it was just like, I don't know. I'm a big underdog person. And this tribe initially was the underdogs, right? One tribe has all the young, strong people, and the other one just doesn't have that. So I wanted these underdogs to win and get one over on them like every single time. So yeah, that was like my initial thoughts. I wanted them to do well, but you always knew like it's gonna be an uphill battle for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so even moments like Ted and Clay like being friends, that's one of those things where it's like, oh wow, that's what you love about especially pre-season 20 Survivor, of like taking people from, like, you don't expect Clay and Ted to be as tight as they are in those early days. And so yeah, for me, Chugan was always like, okay, I think I probably just want anyone here to win, with the exception of like John the First Boot, and maybe even Brian. Like Brian just always came off as overly cold. He's the Iceman and all of that, but like he just always came off as, I don't think I'm vibing with this person, which is not a huge deal. And I think where I really turned on him was during the Ted Gandia situation, because I'm not going to talk about the actual. What I'm more talking about is everything surrounding it. So Brian kind of trying to stir the pot with it. Clay just not giving a shit about it. Like, oh yeah, it's all her. Like, not even trying to listen to both sides.
No.
Even the way that both Ted and Gandhi kind of handle it a little bit later, and I get it. I absolutely get why they would. But it's like, oh man, are we supposed to be rooting for these people? Because every single time it's like they just keep showing us these things, and it becomes very uncomfortable when they start to win. It's like, oh, I don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
But I mostly blame Brian for the blow up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the whole situation, like honestly, and it's a very awkward watch, obviously. Like it's a very hard watch. However, Helen was a very big standout during that whole thing, because Helen, I was instantly put onto Helen as when that happened. I became a Helen fan. I wanted Helen to do the best. Like I wanted her to do the best, because I think with the whole situation, she was the most supportive in that whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And
And then she voted
it
out
made,
Gandhi.
yeah,
And then she
I
voted
don't know why, but um yeah, no, I became a fan of Helen because of how she was treating the situation, but literally everyone else there was treating this like it was game, and it's not game. It's
You haven't seen
I don't know.
Survivor All Stars, right?
No.
So in Survivor All Stars, they do like a brief history of the show, and they're like, oh yeah, one of the funniest moments is the fight that Ted and Gandia have, and it's like, sure, yeah, and then they bring it up during the reunion. They bring it
Yeah.
up during the reunion,
Yeah.
as like a fun little, hey guys, remember when this happened?
No, I remember because when I was watching the reunion, I remember Jeff specifically said, he specifically said something along the lines of, let's take a look back to the moment that had the whole world talking. And it was like, do we really want to highlight this?
Yeah,
Like,
Jeff,
I don't
was
know.
everyone really talk? I mean, I guess that would make sense that they would be talking about it. I
Yeah.
don't think that he understood why people were talking about it, but sure. Um, Brian is 34 here, and he's and very old looking 34, and that's coming from someone who will be 34 for the next 5 hours. Um,
Happy early birthday.
Brian also is a used car salesman, which if you don't know and you're listening to this, just go look up Brian Heidick, his other festivities besides, what were your thoughts on Brian the player and Brian the character, not talking about him winning, just Brian?
Yeah. So he makes a lot of uncomfortable comments in his confessional very, very, very consistently. Um, and like that part, I hate. Like it was, there was nothing in me that wanted to cheer for him or that at all. I think as a game player, I mean, he had the right idea, right? Like scheme and like it got him the win at the end of the day. But I think he just he only cared about himself, and it very much impacted a lot of the other people around him. So I think there was definitely a much better way to go about what he was wanting to do. Um However, sorry.
No, you're good.
Um but yeah, no, I think he was just playing a very villainous game at the end of the day. And yeah.
Yeah, when people like to complain about, oh, Jeff said he doesn't want villains anymore, and this, that, and the other, and it's like, yeah, he meant that more talking about people like Brian. He wasn't saying people like Parvati. He's not talking about people like Parvati. He's talking about people like Brian, and people just can't grasp that. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's just keep on casting people like this. Since you guys really want your villains back, let's just keep casting. And the thing with Brian is, man, I feel like people underappreciate him as a winner because, like you said, it just feels gross every time. But like Brian is a dominant winner from jump. Like there is never a moment where he's in real danger. He has full control over his tribe. And yes, in his confessionals, he's saying all these things. But on their way to Final Tribal, he even says, all the bonds you make are fake. And it's like, oh, he's okay. And Penny called him out on it. I think Aaron kind of alluded to calling him out on it. Like he played it. I know people always said, yeah, it was a business trip. This was just business, and I feel like a lot of people felt kind of gross about it. Now, also, he does win the last four jurors. They all vote for him. The first three all vote for Clay, and I do feel like Chugan was probably never going to vote for Clay just in general. But also, I think the fact that Clay and Jake had their little blow up is what altered. Because I do think there is a world that Clay wins this season. If Clay and Jake don't have that blow up, I think at the beginning of the Jake Boot episode, I think there is a world where Clay could win. And honestly, this time around, I didn't I didn't overly dislike Clay.
Yeah. I he's interesting. And what you're saying about him potentially winning the game is absolutely true. I don't know if you remember you're watching the reunion, Helen literally says if she knew what she knows now, she would flip her vote, which like would win him the game. So he had a very real chance of winning this game. I think Clay it, he put himself in a situation where he he had to stick with Brian, right? Like but he brought a lot of there were some things that he was doing and saying that genuinely had me laughing at my TV screen. Like, um, and I don't know. It was really fun to have him around at camp. There's some things I go back to, like, uh, I think it's like right when they merge and they're talking about the piss cave, right?
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, like it's just normal. We all piss where we sleep." Like, and I don't know. That was just like a really funny situation with him. Like, there was a lot of situations like that that genuinely had me laughing like really hard when it came to Clay.
Yeah, I think I froze there, but I think I froze there. Speaking of Clay, and we're going to get to attack zone here because that's the one thing that everyone, I guess, positive thing that people remember from this season is the attack zone challenge, a challenge that they obviously they haven't brought it back in this iteration. There is another version of this challenge that happens a few seasons later, but nothing like this. And obviously, Jeff's getting pissed off because no one understands the rules because the rules are very convoluted. I would say, and so yes, we get the moment where Rob chokes Clay. At another point, Brian, how did Brian get knocked off? Something happened and he falls in. They and we have the Rob talking a lot of shit about Clay. I want to spit in his face. It's just everyone is just so damn unlikable, and you get to actually see them fight each other in this challenge. Thankfully,
Yeah. It it's a beautiful shit show. That's the best way to describe it. It is a hilarious shit show. It's like being at a like one of I don't know. It's just really funny. It's just a really funny watch, and like watching Jeff get mad at these players because they're not doing the challenge correctly, and watching him individually kick each and every person out of this challenge and sit them out is just so funny to me. Um, and yeah, it's like you were saying, one of the biggest positives to come out of this season is that one challenge.
it's the
Like
one challenge
it's
that
it's
so happens to happen in the same episode as what we talked about earlier.
yeah.
And I have in my notes, how can a cast be so hateable? I think for the longest time, until maybe like season 30, for me, this is like it's so hard to latch yourself on to certain people. And I think that what kind of really sucks the air out of the season is the fake merge. Um, which I understand this is still early in the show's history, so they're trying out different things. They just started doing the swap in season 3. They did it again in season 4 a little bit differently. And in this season, they don't swap, but they also don't merge when everyone's expecting it. And instead, we have like a one world situation where people are living on a beach together and thinking that they are merged. And Sheehan tries to, jump ship because she's not vibing with Penny. And yeah, we end up in a spot where Sheehan is the merge boot, but not really. Thoughts? I know you talked about growing to like Sheehan after her fight with Rob. Thoughts on how Sheehan played those last couple of rounds, and also thoughts on the fake merge.
Yeah, Sheehan playing those last couple rounds the way she did was 100% the right thing to do. She just got twist screwed. And it was a really hard watch, and especially when like there's that cut where they all get to the challenge and Jeff looks at them and Jeff's like, did I say anything about merge? My heart sinks because you know instantly that like, oh man, Sheehan just messed up. Like
Yeah.
Sheehan just messed up so bad, and losing the she devil like that is so like it's disheartening because I wanted to see her succeed and get like she was very well, she had a good brain when it came to the strategy of the game, I think. And I think she was going to set herself up in a great position if that was not a fake merge. She was going to be in a amazing position. And they were vibing with her. They loved her. Like
And I guess my thinking is based off of how we know the season goes. I still like even if it merges and they do, I still see her potentially just going out in sixth place. because it didn't seem like the Chewigons were going to ever do anything. They were already planning on who they were going to take out once they got to 5. They were never thinking who we're going to get out before 5. And I agree. So I agree with you. Like Shann's the only person for the season to come back for All Stars. So like there was potential there. She's a great confessionalist, and she did play it the right way because her and Penny weren't vibing. And Ken the cop felt betrayed, and I got it. And I this is just a weird side note tangent. When people say that the show is rigged, one of my things will always be, if the show was rigged, Ken the cop would have won because 9/11, like that's literally Ken the New York City cop who gets a round of applause would
Yeah,
like, yeah, you were
yeah,
definitely going to fix it for him to win if anyone else. But that's neither here nor there. We actually get the real merge, and by this point Sukjai is done. We lose what Aaron next, and then I think is when the merge happens, and then
yep.
boom, 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 and it just leads to some very dull TV, with the exception of the family visit episode, which I really enjoyed this time around.
I was actually I wanted to talk about that because I thought that was a very sweet episode. I thought that was very, like, that whole entire thing, having them come in, you can't touch, hug, or do anything. They do the challenge for you. Helen's uh, boyfriend or husband, I think it's husband,
Yeah,
um, wins, comes to camp and everything, talks about how he hates it. Yeah, yeah. Fun stuff. But then the immunity challenge comes around, and it's like, haha, you actually do get to like, that was such a sweet moment.
yes,
I
in the
thought,
middle of this season.
yes, like, these people that I don't really like are actually giving me a really sweet moment. And yeah, I don't know, I liked it. I was sitting there watching the food challenge with my girlfriend. I'm like, the boy, like, I don't know about you, I don't know how you feel about, like, the food type of challenges, but
Oh,
I
I
was
love
sitting
them.
there, I
It's the
was
one
like,
challenge that
yeah,
I really want to do. Yeah.
yeah, I was sitting there, I was like, these ones actually don't look like horrendous. Like, I think these ones are very doable, and it was a very fun watch. And watching Jake's wife, like,
Oh yeah,
almost,
Jake's wife was balling out. Yeah.
like, I was cheering for her. I wanted her to win the whole thing. She was going crazy for that, you know?
Going back a couple of episodes to when they get the videos and they see Brian's house and Brian's wife and everything. This is another one of those moments where it's like, does this man feel anything? Because it doesn't seem like he's overly excited to see her on screen. It doesn't seem like he's overly excited when she's there. Like he just, there is no emotion the entire time, and it's like, this man is a sociopath. He has to be. Well, so sure, this man has to be a sociopath, because how are you how do you not have any emotions even in this one moment, when we've seen other winners who play very, I'm going to just focus on this, and we see them break here and there. Brian's the only one that we've never really seen have any type of vulnerability, and it just comes off as we're supposed to be rooting for him.
Yeah, I think, I like, the way I'm perceiving it as is they were trying to give off like a kind of like a Mamba mentality type of deal with
Yeah,
Brian, where he's here for a business trip, right? Like, I'm here to make money, not to make friends type of deal. But it really comes off as, when you're on a reality TV show, and you're saying you're here to make money, not to make friends. And like, these, like, you're not getting any emotion from your soon to be winner. Like, it's just, the mama mentality doesn't work in this scenario and in this situation. So
yeah,
it's,
I just feel gross.
yeah,
Gabe brought it up that Helen, who was probably the best game player outside of Brian this season, probably, couldn't even see it, and her husband's trying to tell her like, "Hey, I'm just saying." And so when we hit that final four or final five, Ted goes, and you know it is what it is. Basically, at that point, Helen goes very betrayed. Jan's the only one that kind of takes it on the nose. I will say that the final three uh, challenge is one of my favorite challenges because of how insane it is. Like this is probably one of the hardest challenges that they've ever had to do on the show, and we're in 2026.
Absolutely. Like I'm watching that and I'm like, I'm not lasting as long as you. And you have been on an island for up more than a month.
Yeah,
Like you have been on an island, living on an island for more than a month. You put me in that situation, and I am not lasting nearly as long as those people. Like,
yeah. And
uh,
Jan's sitting there struggling like this. Clay's hat's coming off. Like it's and it's a very hot environment as well. And
yes, and
Brian wins the last three immunities because he's playing against old folks.
yes, and another funny part from that was Jeff was asking like them question, like you know how he does that during like these endurance challenges. He asks his questions. He gets to Brian. Brian doesn't even want to answer. I think he asked Brian uh like something along the lines of like how we feeling over here, and he just says good, and it's just like continue to do it. Another reason where I'm like, dude, come on, like give us something, you know, like
Well, he delivers in his confessionals. Depending on what you like, it is he does deliver there. But yeah, it's just overall, it's never been a fun season for me. And it's very possible this is the last time that I watched this season ever. Which is insane to say out loud, but it's true. Like I probably will never watch Survivor Thailand again unless someone invites me on their pod and says, "Hey, we're discussing Thailand." It's like fuck. Um, so we get to the final two, and at this moment, it's kind of like it's. I feel like it's obvious that Brian's going to win, but if I were a juror on this jury and I heard what I heard just there, I think I might actually vote for Clay. I think I might actually vote for Clay.
me too. I think especially after seeing Ken's speech and seeing Penny's speech, those two were like, whoa, you
Yeah,
know, like Ken obviously commenting on why Brian wanted Ted out of the
Ted
game.
guy.
And
Yeah,
then Penny, Brian doesn't know anything about Penny. You've been living on an island with her upwards to a month, and you don't know anything about Penny, who was there for a
older
long time.
sister, older brother. Oh, I'm the oldest. Oh, okay. Uh, you're
Like,
from somewhere, whatever town he names in Texas, and she's like, no, that's Jan. And then Clay sits there and tells her whole life story. And
yeah, like,
Penny, I mean, Penny asks the question that I ask in every org and or LRG that I play in. That's my jury question because, and especially in moments like that where people, oh yeah, I did this, that, and the other. I played like this. I was social. I had made my bonds. It's like, okay, answer a very simple question then. I'm not asking you to tell me my 11th grade teacher's name or something. Just tell me where I'm from and how many siblings that just something basic. And I think for me at that moment, it was like, okay, I'm gonna vote for Clay, and I don't care that he's a what Ted called like nothing but a ignorant redneck, whatever. And
yeah,
Clay takes it on the nose too. He's like, okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah. Like he handled that situation as well as anyone really could. He ate it. He ate that entire speech. I'm
yeah.
giving him credit for that.
So we get to the votes. Like I mentioned, it's first three out vote Clay, and I think it's because they didn't have to spend as much time with him as Jake. And then all of Chewy obviously votes for Brian with Clay, or with no with Jake, and Jan was the only one that I guess I was sort of surprised by, but not really. Helen was always going to vote for Brian in my head. Ted was probably always going to vote for Brian. Um, and then yeah, we kind of end with Brian winning 4-3. And like I said, I have the reunion playing in the background, but I remember hating the reunion, so I'm excited that I don't have to watch it this time. What were your thoughts on the reunion besides what we talked about earlier?
Um, one thing that really stood out to me in the reunion was Stephanie and how it was highlighting how funny she is, and kind of wished we got more of that. Like I thought Steph, like in her it shows her audition video and how like she's like really like a funny person. We got none of that. And like we discussed earlier, she is just like mad at the world the entire season. And it's just like, dang, like I wish we got more of that. Um, and then like we also talked about, yes, Tanya was coughing a lot. That's another thing I remember. Every time like someone's like patting her on the side, like, you okay? Like that kept happening. Like, there was a lot of that. But yeah.
All right, so what I've been asking folks is something that the modern day Survivor fan would hate about Survivor Thailand. Um, so something that for you, what do you think the modern day Survivor fandom would dislike about Survivor Thailand?
Like there's a lot I could say, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with game, and I'm gonna say the fake merge. I think absolutely that would cause the entire fandom to go up in flames, and like we were talking about with the rigging, like how can you rig shit like that? I could totally see that happening.
yes.
Um, so I could see that happening, and also let me think here. Let me get one more. Obviously, like all the problematic stuff too, like that would be
Yeah.
like, yeah. But
I
yeah,
for me, it would be. I think the fandom would hate the fact that that Sukjai are kumbaya towards the end because the
yeah,
fandom hates kumbaya. Anytime there's a kumbaya, it's like, oh, this isn't Survivor. It's like, sure it is. It's always been Survivor. Y'all just have this warped reality of what Survivor is. But yeah, they would hate Sukjai for being so tight. Um,
yes,
and you know what? I like we've said, I quite enjoyed Sukjai towards the end. Basically, once the Rob episode happens, you kind of are forced to root for them and all for naught. Um, my final rating, I guess, for this season is like a 1.5 out of 5. Like it's like I said, it'd be very hard for another season to finally take its spot at the bottom of my personal rankings, but I might end up hating Heroes vs Villains this time around or something like
yeah,
something crazy.
like yeah, yeah. It's absolutely at like out of all the seasons I've watched so far, it is 1050% at the bottom.
150 to 200%. Who would be your ally this season?
Who would be my ally this season? Like I said, I think I like the charismatic people. I would want to work with Rob. I would love to work with Rob. I think that's like because I like someone that's very out there and open, so I can hide behind them. And I feel like Rob is that perfect person. Obviously, not there for a long time, but I think he's the person that everyone sees. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I would say as far as gameplay, probably Helen. As far as someone that I want to look at for as long as possible, it would definitely be Penny. So, as kind of putting that out there, I just, yeah, we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. Fred, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know that it was a shit season, but you know what? The last person I had to do this last time I did this is now dead. So I don't like it could be because of this season. It could be for other things. But thank you. Hopefully you don't meet the same fate. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to everyone in the chat as always. Make sure to subscribe. I can never find it. There it is. Subscribe and follow the Instagram. Like I said, Mucky's been doing interviews with folks from Survivor Australia over the past couple weeks, I believe. So make sure to check that out. I will be back tomorrow around 6, hopefully, because it is my birthday and I want to go celebrate. But I'll be back around 6 tomorrow to discuss Survivor the Amazon. And until then, we will see you guys on the other side.